Pretty damn fantastic news, especially for all of you who may just be still stuck on a 970. Because GPU prices are beginning to normalize. It seems to be happening decently quickly. So there is a chance that you may be able to buy a graphics card at close to RRP. I can hardly believe it.
Yeah.
Wild.
I mean, it may be closer to the end of this year, but, sooner rather than later.
Okay, so to get into some of this. Okay, here's a bit of news. GPU prices dropped another 9% in the first half of March. Yes, the prices have been, slow and steadily dropping, albeit from a stupidly high starting point. But if you look at this, right, the latest price drop comes in the wake of an average 11% decline in February compared to January prices. All told, we're down 25% since December of last year. Now, of course, December last year, if you wanted a graphics card, you might be paying double MSRP, which was very silly. But things are moving in, they're moving in the right direction. And we've got some other things happening as well. So let's talk about Asus. This is pretty cool. Asus to cut GPU prices by up to 25% starting in April. And this is in a statement that they gave to Tom's Hardware saying, as a result of the latest tariff lift on Chinese imports from the Office of the United States Trade Representative, gamers and PC enthusiasts will see lower prices on the RTX 30 series cards beginning April 1st. Now, I remember sitting in this chair talking about those tariffs with you.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's when I believe that was the previous administration was in the middle of the big sort of like trade war with China, and this did hit video games.
Yep.
Now, I imagine this is not the sort of thing that impacted our pricing massively, but
not over
certainly
here, no.
I hear that the prices were just that little bit more ghastly in America.
Yeah, I mean,
so there you go.
Yeah, so they say up to 25% because the tariff itself was between 7.5% and 25% on PCBs.
Yeah.
So assuming that's passed on to the customer, which, in some cases definitely won't be, but in some cases, like with Asus, they've made it public that they are going to pass these back down. Then that'll be graphics cards and motherboards just taking it April 1st comes in, a nice big chunk off the price.
Yeah, awesome. And I think because, this is just a change in the tariff, but certainly by making their intent here quite public, it's obviously some good brownie points for Asus, some free marketing, I suppose. I mean, we're talking about them.
Yeah, and if not free marketing for them, beyond that is that they've planted their stake in the ground, which means, everyone else has to go, oh, well, now we look like bastards if we don't.
Yeah.
Because everyone will know that we're just keeping the price, saving to ourselves. Shit, we have to pass it on. At least, hopefully.
So now, am I going to go to scan.co.uk and have some form of a cardiac event? Maybe a bit less so.
Yeah. You'll still drop dead, but it'll take a little bit longer to get there.
Yeah. So there's been a drop in MSRPs from the start to the end of March, and that was 25%. Yep, by some twist of fate, 25% is now also the average level of GPU pricing above MSRP. Of course, only a quarter previously, we were typically looking at 80% above MSRP for a new GPU.
Yep, so you're still looking for like a couple $100 on top of what you were going to pay already, or a couple €100 or pounds, but it's still basically, you look at the 3D center chart here and you go, oh yeah, no, yeah, the prices are going down because all the other factors are being solved and being fixed. So, maybe if I need to replace my graphics card, I'll be able to do so at the end of this year without having to spend 600 quid for a 3060 Ti, which I believe is the current pricing on overclockers.
It's quite interesting. So on this, we're seeing the MSRPs. We've got availability being the blue dotted line and the price of Ethereum in yellow. And you can really see initially it is quite tied to Ethereum. Yeah. That relationship, then you can see somewhat, becomes less.
Yeah,
right?
So basically, you can see here that when availability is low and Ethereum is high, the prices shot up.
Yep.
But availability has went up. So even as the Ethereum prices went up, the MSRP only rose a little bit because the availability's there. Because I think it was Jay's I was watching earlier, just a sense, and he was saying that the supply constraints aren't actually supply constraints in terms of, COVID shut down all the factories and we can't make GPUs. It's more we needed to ramp up supply to match the increased demand of COVID and the increased demand of Ethereum mining, but we weren't able to do that, which means that Now the ramp up of production's happened. Now supply is beginning to actually match demand, and demand is starting to fall.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Yep.
Now, as to why we weren't buying, obviously expense was absolutely insane. And then, of course, there was the scalping problem. That is a problem that is not solved right now, but as availability increases, scalpers won't be able to have that market cornered. So hopefully it will burst in their faces and they'll lose a fuckload of money.
Yep, and especially there's another reason it'll burst, which is the end of this year. We've got the, as scalpers have had, like, they've got all the 30,000 series, or sorry, the 3,000 series. They've got all the, the RX 6,000 series. They're holding on to them. They'll be not irrelevant per se, but they won't be the hottest new thing anymore.
Of course, yeah.
And
So
as soon as that ticks over to we want the new thing, then all of those cards will just drop in price. Well, they'll drop in demand, and then scalpers will go, we've got thousands and thousands and thousands. We've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cards. We need to ship them. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
Yeah, because they'll try to corner all that supply and then drip feed it back in at a super high price.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So this could all be quite interesting for the next generation of cards. We've got the RX 7000 series and the RTX 40 series, probably Q3, Q4 this year.
Yeah, rumors are all over the place, to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it seems like moving to a 5nm process, which is something that is confirmed for RDNA 3, rumored for RTX 40, so that should be good. Now, there's rumors talking about anywhere between 1.5x and 3x performance across the range.
Yeah, another big generational leap is what a couple of leakers and a couple of people who, you know those Twitter accounts that like will just throw out a bunch of statistics and everyone will go, these are definitely real, despite no context. There's a couple of those going, using all the code, all like the internal code words for graphics cards, going, oh yeah, this is 2.5x. And you're like, no one believes you, but we'll be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, like I could believe, 2.5x RTX ops.
Yeah,
remember that whole RTX ops thing? So it's kind of hard to know, but certainly it seems cool. Then Intel. I remember watching the LTT videos about, here's an old Intel experimental GPU, and now we're going to have it very soon with Alchemist.
I think this video got the same day as the Alchemist laptop GPU range is made available to people, so we'll be able to, by the time this video's out, you should be able to go see some benchmarks there. Although I do believe there's one leaked benchmark for Ash to the Singularity for a laptop GPU that didn't look very good.
Oh dear.
We're talking like 36, 38 FPS. But that's, again, this liable to be CPU bound and it's discrete laptop as opposed to discrete desktop. So
I think then what I'm interested in is what is the power like. I mean, as an example, one of the things that I've enjoyed about this is, the thermal and power side, where you can get really, really good performance. I mean, identical performance plugged in and on battery. Yeah. Which is something that is not there in Windows land. So I'd be very interested to see what they can do in terms of efficiency so that the actual laptop experience can be better. So it's not, you have an over-bulked laptop that then has proper usable power when you plug it in. Yeah. So, if any of these advancements can actually give you that, like, proper leap, that would be really very exciting for these.
Yeah, and one of the fun things I've seen people say about this is that Intel with Arc and Alchemist, they were trying to position themselves. I believe the release was rumored Q1 this year. Obviously, they are just making that and no more with the laptop GPUs, but the desktop ones are nowhere to be seen. So one of the things that's actually interesting here is we don't know what the performance is like. Probably okay, because it's Intel. They know what they're doing, relatively speaking. But one of the important things to keep in mind here is this was positioned to release in the supply-constrained market, which means they could just go, everyone wants a GPU, here you go, buy ours, because they exist. And everyone would be forced to buy them because, you need a graphics card, so you buy it. But if these aren't all that great, or even if they are okay, now we're in less of a supply-constrained market, which means they probably have to drop their price targets a little bit. If people can just go and buy their favorite NVIDIA, their favorite AMD, they will actually have to be substantially more competitive with this than I think they plan to.
Yeah, I think having 3 serious competitors is big. I mean, just look what Zen did to make Intel competitive.
Oh yeah, right? Intel shot themselves basically. Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yep.
And now the final part of the why, of course, is Ethereum. Okay, so what have we had? Well, we've got the actual difficulty of mining going up. Electricity prices going up, I think, quite protracted now, given everything that is going on. So that's just going to impact the mining side of things. And then I think as well, just in terms of supply, where things are just getting better. So overall, what does this mean for gaming? Well, 50% plus generational leaps on CPU and GPU, which basically means maybe we'll get back to that place where the gaming computers are, routinely beating the consoles. But at least for the time being, the consoles are looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been that cyclical thing, right?
Yeah.
It's always been the consoles out, and maybe not in the PS3 and 360 gen because they were completely off the rails there. But it's always a thing of, okay, the brand new architected consoles that are being held up by subsidized by the platform costs. Oh, they're so good, they're so powerful, they're so great. But then that's going to be there for 6 years static. So now we're getting to like the 2 year mark after these consoles, which means this is where the breakpoint happens. This is where you start to see, okay, the PS5 can run that at 4K at 60, nice, but the PC will do it with all of this extra stuff.
What will the 750 Ti of the 40 series or 50 series end up feeling like? I think that's the big question.
Yeah, will that be, instead of $500, will that be like $300? Will that mean you get PS5 or Series X performance for about $600, $700 all in instead of the currently $1,200? And then you've got this thing of, Game Pass PC. Oh, yeah, sweet. I'm benefiting from no platform or the platform subsidy on games, and also PC gaming hardware back to where it belongs.
Yeah. So basically, if you're in the market for a GPU, things are getting better now.
Yep.
Maybe by the final quarter of this year or the first quarter of next year, it could be a little bit more back to normal.
Yep.
But certainly good news. This has been something that's been holding PC gaming back tremendously over the last bunch of years. We've pretty much, so many of us have just ended up using the card that we had before the chip shortage and all the crazy price explosions were happening. So I think there's probably going to be a lot of pent-up demand, a lot of people waiting for their upgrades because they've been completely mad. So I suppose, good luck. It's nice to have some good news. And yeah, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.